Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiryet Shavtam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanaha Hridayantastohya Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suhasatam Nashtaprayasya Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. So today we'll be covering Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 8th canto, chapter 4. Gajendra returns to the spiritual world, right? Going back home, back to Godhead. So the title of the chapter is Gajendra returns to the spiritual world. And as is the custom, we'll cover the very first verse. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, do you want to come? Hare. Thank you. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 8th canto, chapter 4, first verse. Shri Shuka Uvacha Tada Devarshi Gandharva Brahmeshana Purogamaha Mumuchu Kusumasaram Shamsantah Karma Tadhare. Tada Devarshi Gandharva Brahmeshana Purogamaha Mumucha Kusmasaram Shamsantah Karma Tadharehi. Tada Devarshi Gandharva Brahma Shena Purogamaha Mumuchu Kusumasaram Shamsantah Karma Tadhareha. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Shri Shukdev Goswami said, Tada, at that time, when Gajendra was delivered, Devarshi Gandharva, the demigods, sages and Gandharvas, Brahma Ishana Purogamaha, headed by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, Mumuchuhu, showered, Kusuma Asaram, a covering of flowers, Shamsantaha, while praising, Karma, transcendental activity, Tat, that, Gajendra Moksha, Harehe, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shri Shukdev Goswami said, when the Lord delivered Gajendra, king of the elephants, all the demigods, sages and Gandharvas, headed by Brahma and Shiva, praised this activity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and showered flowers upon both the Lord and Gajendra. Purport. It is evident from this chapter that great sages like Devala Rishi, Narad Muni, and Agastya Muni will sometimes curse someone. The curse of such a personality, however, is in fact a benediction. Both the crocodile, who had been a Gandharva in his previous life, and Gajendra, who had been a king named Indradumna, were cursed, but both of them benefited. Indradumna, in his birth as an elephant, attained salvation and became a personal associate of the Lord in Vaikuntha. And the crocodile regained his status as Gandharva. We find evidence in many places that the curse of a great saint or devotee is not a curse but a benediction. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timrandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatadaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So this is a beautiful topic, right? Going back home is always a beautiful topic. So here, the purport is very important because in this purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions some personalities that were not mentioned in the original translation. So he is talking about Devala Muni, Devashi Narad, and Agastya Muni. Now, the Gandharva who became crocodile was actually King Huhu, one of the Gandharva kings. And he was cursed by Devala Muni. So Devala Rishi, he had cursed for this Gandharva to become a crocodile. And later on in the chapter, the story is also narrated. It just so happened that King Huhu, he was with, women, sporting in the waters. And Devala Rishi was meditating and, taking bath at the same time. So King Huhu, in his, childish play, he actually was pulling leg, and he pulled leg of Devala Rishi. And Devala Rishi fell in the water. So it was, he became annoyed. What is this? This is not expected of a king to play like that, like a child. So he immediately cursed him that you are so, engaged in such activities, why don't you become a crocodile? Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshmi Hanuman ki jai, Shri Shri Ganatai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. So, he was cursed to become a crocodile. And this was the same crocodile. So again, King Huhu, he was very sorry that he had, made such a fun. He had ridiculed the sage by pulling his leg. And thus he was cursed. So he asked for forgiveness. And sage, being benevolent, magnanimous, he said, okay, one day, this curse, you will be delivered from this curse, by the Lordship himself, when you will catch hold of the foot of Gajendra. So this is the pastime where the crocodile was holding on to the foot of Gajendra. And how long did he hold on to it? 1,000 celestial years, where the day is 6 months of the earthly year, yes, and night is equally long, so that's almost like a year. So that's amazingly long time. This crocodile was holding on. And now think of Gajendra. Gajendra was in his previous life, as is described in the translation, was King Indradumna. He was king of the Pandya, and Pandya is in Dravida Desh, which is Tamil. Srila Prabhupada writes in the summary that is Tamil country, the southern India. And from there, this king, he was very pious, very religious king, and he, after giving up his family life, he decided to, go to Malay Hills and establish a small cottage there. And he was engaged in devotional service. Just like Bharat Maharaj, right? Bharat Maharaj also did the same thing. After he decided to give his kingdom and family life, he went to, he built a small cottage and he was meditating. And sometimes it happens that the devotees, when they are engaging in such meditation, there is some level of fall down. So in this particular case, it just so happened that King Indradumna, once he had taken a vow of silence, and he was engaged in devotional service, so he was in meditation. It's so described that he was in meditation, relishing the love of Godhead, completely in bliss. That is samadhi. And he was engaged, and so he was engaged without having any feeling of externally what's going on in the world around him. And at that time, it just so happened that Agastya Muni, he came with many of his disciples. So, Durvasa Muni, he travels with thousands of his disciples at times. And one time he almost got Pandavas in trouble. The Duryodhana tricked it, to get Pandavas in trouble. So in this particular case, Agastya Rishi, he was coming and he was, he reached the cottage of Indradumna Maharaj and he saw that the king is there, but the king is not getting up to welcome him. Right? And rishis being very powerful, when they become upset, they curse you sometimes. So in this case, Agastya Muni said that this king is low-born. Indradumna is low-born, he is uneducated, and so he has not, welcomed us, and he has offended a Brahmana. So he becomes dull like an elephant. So such is the curse. And you forget about all this, his intelligence would become as dull as that of an elephant. So elephant is a giant animal, but his brain is like the size of a peanut. So, the consciousness is very limited, that it's very loyal to Marut, its master. So King Indradumna, because of the curse, when he heard about the curse, he accepted it, as being sanctioned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And his next birth, he becomes Gajendra. Now, when you think of this incident, when Parikshit Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami is narrating all this incident, the pastime of Gajendra to Parikshit Maharaj at the bank of the Ganges, Yamuna River, Delhi. And there, when Parikshit Maharaj hears it, of course, Parikshit Maharaj will be able to relate to a similar incident earlier. Which incident can you think of? When Parikshit Maharaj himself was very thirsty, he went to the Rishi Shringi's dad, his cottage, and he saw the Rishi not getting up to welcome him. So he put a dead snake around his neck. So because he did not have those, power from the sacrifices, from the austerities, he did what, a Kshatriya would do, try to insult. Because to Kshatriyas, pride is very important, name, fame, glories. So when they become upset with someone, they don't kill them, then they actually kill them in another way by insulting them. There is an incident where Arjuna, he had actually said that if anybody asks me to give up this Gandiva bow, I will kill him. And after Karna had attacked Yudhishthira Maharaj pretty furiously, and Arjuna had somewhat intervened, but then Yudhishthira Maharaj went back to the camp and Arjuna came behind, and Yudhishthira Maharaj said, "Oh, you have destroyed Karna." And Arjuna said, "No, I came to look for you, means you left the battlefield. And how are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, you should get off Gandiva." And Arjuna said, "What? I took a vow that whoever asked me to give up Gandiva, I would destroy him." And this is my elder brother telling me. So at that time, he's in a dharma sankat, right? He's in a dilemma, what to do. Should I keep my words and what to do? And then Indra, means Lord Krishna, he enlightened him by saying, to a Kshatriya, insult is worse than death. So you should insult your brother instead of physically killing him. So Arjuna insulted Yudhishthira Maharaj, to kind of like, so that's the way Kshatriyas behave. So Parikshit Maharaj behaved on the similar lines, coming in the lineage. So it just happened that here, Indradumna Maharaj was cursed and he became Gajendra. And as we heard the pastime till now, that he appeared where? As an elephant. He became king of the elephants. He was so strong. With his walks, the whole Trikuta region was trembling, it is said. And he would not care if there were trees or shrubs in his way. So all the animals, the ferocious animals, lions, tigers, rhinoceros, they were afraid of this king. And as soon as they would smell him from a distance, they would flee away. Such was, the strength of Gajendra. And he would, of course, travel with his many wives and many children and his associates. And he came in the valley of the same Trikuta mountain. Trikuta means 3 peaks. And it is described that these 3 peaks were of iron, silver, and gold. And there were many other peaks. And they had many minerals and gems in them. Yet these 3 peaks were the prime peaks. That's why the name was Trikuta. And in the valley of this Trikuta mountain were there was one garden made by, it was established by Lord Varuna. And this was Ritumat. And this is where this large pond was there. The water was, crystal clear. And there were golden lotuses. And because of the disturbance by the fishes and the, other aquatic beings, the pollen from the lotus would be smeared. And sometimes the apsaras, they would come, and celestial denizens from the heaven, they would come and take bath and give the fragrance from their body to the waters. So, and this place was beautifully decorated. Means there were so many wonderful trees filled with so many fruits. Mango is given, coconut is given, and so forth, many fruits. And there were flowers, all kind of flowers were there. Like, of course, lotus is there and so forth. And Gajendra, it is said that he entered into the lake as if completely intoxicated, as he had come. And there was liquor dripping from his mouth. So it's so strange. And then there is a reference given of honey and honeybees. So it is, reference is given by the acharyas that it was the honey he had, he was, when you are fed so well, you feel intoxicated. Sometimes people, they have this tendency of going to sleep right after having a heavy meal. So in this case, Gajendra, traveling with his associates and his wives and his many children, he want to refresh himself. So he enters the lake and he feels freshened up. He drinks the water and he feels the beautiful atmosphere and so forth. The ambience is so wonderful. And so he encourages all his wives and his children and his associates to join him as well. So this is the, I'm trying to give you a gist of where we are before we come to this point. And he started, with his task, sprinkling water on them, even though it involved hard, labor. So as he's doing that, that's uttaya, person is inclined to engage in fruitive activities. And so he is sprinkling water, and all of a sudden, because the aquatics are disturbed, the crocodile, who was very powerful, he captures onto the foot of Gajendra. And for 1,000 years, Gajendra is fighting. And Srila Prabhupada gave the example that this is the case of us living entities who are caught in the jaws of the crocodile known as Maya. And the only way to get out is take the proper ashraya. So you have to have the proper sthan. Sthan is the situation of a living entity to understand, how they should be carrying out their activities. So uttaya gives you an insight. So there are some technical terms. These are the important, essential subject matters in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the topics that are being discussed. So I'm giving some technical references as well. So here, Sthiti Vaikuntha Vijaya, that's what Sthan refers to. That Lord has established this material universe in a way that there are opportunities on all the planetary systems for the living entities to go back home, back to Godhead. Right? So here, it just so happened that Gajendra is caught, and he is at that particular time, struggling with the crocodile. And what happens? They are equally strong. Even the associates can't help. So here, Gajendra is very logically understanding why is it happening in this manner. He thinks about it, that my associates, they're trying to pull me, but they can't help me because they're afraid of the crocodile who's so powerful. So my wives, they can't do anything. The children can't do anything. And the only person who can do is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because the serpent of time can engulf someone, but only when one takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when surrender to Him, only then we can attain the true pleasure as well as salvation or deliverance from such situations. So Srila Prabhupada, we discussed this previously. He says 4 kind of pious people come to me. So he being a pious king, he was able to think. And now somebody could say, wait a minute, do you mean that devotees don't die? Prabhu, do devotees die or not? They die, right? Yet at the same time, there's a difference given. That they don't take birth again, because they go back home, back to Godhead. They go to the spiritual world. And this is the pastime which is signifying that when Gajendra, by the mercy of the Lord, he remembers the stotra spoken, in his previous birth when he was Indradumna Maharaj. He speaks that. Now that is Poshanam. Poshanam is Lord's protection. That Lord protects our devotional service. And that's what comes by Lord's grace, Srila Prabhupada writes. Gajendra was able to remember. So this is Gajendra's, to this particular point. And then when he remembers, he calls out to the Lord. Om Namo Bhagavate Tasmai Tad Etad Chidatmakam Purusha Adi Bijaya Paresha Abhidhimahi. So he's calling out to the Lord. And I was reading it. I was doing some research because there was some references given that he didn't call out to the Lord directly. And then I was able to read 2 lectures by Srila Prabhupada that he gave on January 11th and 12th in 1974 on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 1st canto, 16th chapter, verse 17th and 18th. And in both of them, Srila Prabhupada said, actually Lord does not have a name. He has no name. That is a fact. Yet at the same time, he has innumerable names. Thousands of millions of names based on his pastimes, activities, and so forth. So from that particular perspective, we see Gajendra was actually calling out to the Lord. Lord Krishna says, Prana Sarva Vedeshu, right? So the word Shabd Prana, yes, and again, that is Lord Himself. Om. That is Lord Shri Krishna. Then Namo Bhagavate. Bhagavate is Bhagwan, which is again Lord Shri Krishna. And we hear from Parashamani the 6 characteristics. If one is full in all these 6 potencies, then he is, he can be called Bhagwan. And what are those 6 characteristics? Do we remember some of them? Beauty, fame, strength, renunciation, wealth, and knowledge. Hari Bol. So yes. So one who is full. So he's actually calling out to the lordships. He's calling out. Later. Oh Lord, please save me. Yad etad chidatmakam. Because of him, in the material bodies, people are moving from one place to another. So because of who? We are all part and parcel as the living entities. The souls are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he's again calling out to the Lordship. And then, Purusha Adi Bijaya. So Purusha, there is only one Purusha. Everyone else is the Shakti, energy. There is only one enjoyer. And that is Lord Shri Krishna. Now somebody can say, Srila Prabhupada clearly stated actually in the lecture that Krishna is the primary name. And it means all attractive. So the God is all attractive. That's what is being referred here. And Adi Bijaya, he is the original seed from which all other seeds have come. So, when you sow a seed, a tree comes, and from that tree you get many more fruits, and from those fruits more seeds come. Just the natural cycle. So it's actually given as an analogy. So who's the Adi Bija? Again, Lord Shri Krishna. Paresha. So there are many, Isha means controllers. So there are many controllers. like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, but Paresha, the Esha who's beyond them, the controller, the supreme controller is beyond these controllers. Actually, these controllers, Srila Prabhupada writes in the translation that one who is worshipped by the controllers like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. So that's Paresha. Again, who is worshipped by Lord Brahma? Ishvara Paramaha Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Right? So he's worshipping Krishna directly, calling him by the name Govinda. Govinda means one who gives pleasure to the cow or one who gives pleasure to the senses. Two different meanings. But again, it's the name of the God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this way he prays, and his prayers go on and on and on, glorifying the Lord, and that he is surrendering. And it's so, this is Poshanam. This is the, protection given by the Lord, that his devotional service is protected. So Lord protects our devotional service. He safeguards the devotional service of his devotees and all the living entities actually. And so, as he's praying, he actually goes beyond the stotras and he says, oh, what if I am released by this jaws of this crocodile? Because inside and outside I am covered by ignorance in an animal's body. It is better that I give up this body and go back home, back to Godhead. Now that's full surrender, right? He has given up all his other desires for sense gratification. So Nirodha aspect has gone. Nirodha means dissolution. At the time of dissolution, it just so happens that living entities who still have desires, there are 4 types of dissolution, 12th canto they are described. And I'll just cover the one where Lord Brahma, he goes to sleep. So what happens? All the living entities, they merge into the abdomen. And they are just waiting there for another day of Lord Brahma to appear. So when the other day arises, then again the lotus sprouts and so forth, all the living entities come in and they are able to. So can you imagine? That's like a timeout. Can you imagine how painful that would have been? Means you are in a timeout for a whole night of Lord Brahma, that's 1000 Chaturyugas. Such a long time. Why do you want to be in such a state? You want to take to surrender like Gajendra. Gajendra immediately took to that mood that I want to just go back home, back to Godhead. So he surrenders to the Lordship. And at that time, Lord Hari, this is the time of Tamasa Manu, which is Manvantara, right? So that's also another topic, that Lord appears in different Manvantras, and those are referred to, his appearance is referred to as Manvantara avatars, right? And here he appears in the womb of Harini, fathered by Harimedha. And his name, Lord's name is Hari. And he comes on Garuda, in his forearm form. And when he comes and sees Gajendra, what does Gajendra? Now Gajendra is losing power. So as he's losing power, because he didn't get any nourishment. He's in a foreign element, like a fish out of water. That's our state, if you look at it. We are fish out of water. So he is losing power because he didn't get any nourishment, while the crocodile is gaining power. It's getting all the nourishment because it's in its habitat. It's in water. It's getting the nourishment. And at that time, when Gajendra is praying and he sees the Lordship come, immediately he plucks a flower with his tusk and raises up in the sky. And he says, he's basically saying to the Lordship, O Narayan, O Lord of the universes, O the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I pay obeisances to you. The Sanskrit version is, Narayana Kila Guru Bhagwan Namaste. And so, as he's praying, Lord, he gets down from his Guru and he pulls by the tusk Gajendra along with the crocodile onto the shore. And he immediately chops off the head of the crocodile with his chakra. Now this is, Ashray. So this is all Eshanu Katha, right? This is the pastime of the Lord that is being carried on. And another important subject matter, that's been going on. And as Lord is giving, so as he has touched Gajendra achieved Sarupya Mukti. He gets the same bodily features as that of Lord Narayan, the four-arm formed. He's dressed in yellow. He's decorated just like Lord Narayan, except for the Kaustubha Muni and the Shivatsa symbols. Except for those two aspects, he's decorated just like Lord Narayan in the four-arm form. And the crocodile, from crocodile's body, Gandharva, King Huhu, he again regains his form as a Gandharva, beautiful form of Gandharva. And knowing that who has been the cause of his deliverance. Now this is where people kind of like, they become confused. They think, wait a minute, Lord Hari, he just killed the crocodile by cutting off his head, right? If you cut off someone's head, the person dies. So anyone that Lord Vishnu kills attains salvation. But remember, what was the benediction given to King Huhu? That he would be delivered from the curse when Lord Hari, will free Gajendra. So this is what happened. He became Gandharva. He regained his body as a Gandharva. And it's also another topic I just want to kind of like, there is a point where people say Lord Krishna kills. Well, Srila Prabhupada says Lord Krishna can kill and he can protect also. He can do anything he feels like. But he never kills. It is the Vishnu in Krishna that kills. So that's also something very interesting. That Lord Krishna, he is so busy in his pastime in Vrindavan, he doesn't even step out of Vrindavan. And it is, when Vasudeva Krishna was in him, he was the one killing. So it's the Vishnu in Krishna kills. And not every time he delivers someone means that person gets to go back home, back to Godhead. So in this particular case, the Gandharva king Huhu, he is released from the body of the crocodile. And he is, so we understand, Devala Muni is cursed to the king Huhu, as a crocodile he is delivered. Agastya Muni's curse to King Indradamuna, and he becomes Gajendra and he is delivered. Why is Narad Muni mentioned? So it's very interesting that Narad Muni is also mentioned by Prabhupada in the purport. What does that give hint to? Is there someone that Narad Muni cursed and then they were delivered from that curse by the Lordship? Actually, it was Nal Kuvera and Manigriva, the sons of Kuvera. They were loitering in the water. Similar situation like King Huhu. But they were like with Apsaras and so forth. Shishi Garantai ki jai. Shishi Radha Madan Mohan ki jai. Shishi Sita Ram Lakshmana Hanuman ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nanda Koti Vaishnavinda ki jai. Go Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So here, they were delivered. And when Damodar Leela, it happens, right? So at that time, Lord, he brings the Urukula between the two urgent trees because they had become urgent trees in the courtyard of, in the Angan, we say, of Nand Maharaja's house. And with Urukula, as Lord went from the center and Urukula was tied to his udara, his stomach, belly. And he pulls. And these urgent trees, they are uprooted. And from them, two beautiful personalities, they rise. Who are these? Manigriva and Nalukuvera, the sons of Kuvera. And they circumambulated the Lord singing prayers and then they went back to their heavenly abode. They didn't go back to Vaikuntha or any place. So, similarly here, this Gandharva king, he went back to Gandharva Loka. But then, of course, since he was able to see the Lord face to face, Srila Prabhupada in the purport writes, King Huhu would have taken millions of births, but still may not have seen the Lord face to face. But in this case, he was able to see the Lord because of that curse. That curse actually became a benediction. And then he sang prayers to the Lordship, circumambulating him. And so he became sinless. And in his, after his birth as a Gandharva, he went back home, back to Godhead. So because he became sinless, he was able to see the Lordship face to face. And while this is happening, and while, Lordship, he is Lord Hari, has delivered Gajendra, there is also many celestial beings, they are singing praises. There is a description given that there are flowers being showered as if they are curtaining it. There's so much flowers being showered on Lord Hari and Gajendra. So all these demigods, the denizens of heaven, the Gandharvas, the Charanas, the Vidyadharas, all these beings, they are there. And they are singing prayers to the Lordship. Now these prayers are glorifying the Lordship. They actually sang a set of prayers before, asking for forgiveness for Lordship. Do you remember what was why they were singing the prayers asking for forgiveness? It's so interesting that when Gajendra was reciting the prayers, calling for the Lordship to appear, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, oh Bhagwan, please come and save me. I surrender to you. When he was singing his prayers, at that time these demigods felt offended. That, oh, he is not calling out for us. He is calling for someone else. Right? One who is Adi Bijaya, one who is... So they felt offended. And then they realized when Lord Hari appeared, that they actually committed offense by feeling that feeling of being offended. And so they sang prayers first to the Lordship, Lord Hari, asking for forgiveness for the offense they had committed just before. And then next set of prayers are for glorifying the Lordship and Gajendra for having attained the salvation just by singing his prayers. Now it's very interesting. If somebody hears this, how could an elephant sing prayers? It's shocking to them, right? That's why they call it mythological, because they can't accept it. That's why you need Shastra Chakshus. You have to see from the eyes of the Shastra. And there's so many wonderful examples are given in the Shastra where, even from an animal head, important knowledge or important prayers have been recited. Can you think of some example? I'll give you some example. Daksha. When his, Daksha Yajna was spoiled. And even there, Daksha had actually cursed Lord Shiva. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, even that was a benediction because many of the demigods were actually materialistic minds. They had materialistic mindset. So it was good that Lord Shiva should not participate and sit with them. He didn't have to sit with them in the yajna. He left the yajna, arena. So it's very interesting that even the curse at different places. So here, Daksha, after, the demon who came out from the hair of Lord Shiva, kills Daksha. So at that time, not Yajna Purusha is Lord Krishna himself. So Daksha is killed. And at that time, Lord Shiva, he comes and puts a goat's head on Daksha's body, on his torso. And as that happens, Daksha prays for forgiveness from that goat's head. Now there's another example given, where Dadichi Muni, he had been warned by Indra not to give Brahma Vidya to Ashwini Kumaras, right? And when Ashwini Kumaras come back to say, okay, please give us Brahma Vidya, Dadichi Muni says, I can't do that. Indra came and he warned me. He will chop off my head. He said, no problem. Surprise, right? Dadichi Muni, he says, okay, what's the solution? They said, we can replace the head. And he gives they chop off his head and they keep it aside and puts the head of a horse. That's why the Brahma Vidya is also known as Ashvashira Vidya. Because it was given by the mouth of a horse. So no surprise that Gajendra is able to recite these prayers even though he has a head of an elephant. And there is one demigod, I'll actually give you a hint, who also recites amazing prayers all the time. And he has an animal head. Who's he? Lord Ganesha. Right? And they are amazing prayers. He's also one of the Vaishnavas. He wrote the whole Mahabharata because Vyasadeva was, speaking so fast and there was a competition. He wanted to Vyasadeva said, I need someone to scribe with the speed I am reciting it. And it was the task taken by Lord Ganesh. Ganapati is known as. So amazing, amazing personalities, and all these personalities are revealed to us by the scriptures and by the mercy of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He is revealing such great secrets of the celestial, beings that are there. And so we hear here how Gajendra is being, delivered, and he receives Sarupya Mukti. And having received Sarupya Mukti, now there are amazing blessings. When Shukdev Goswami says that at that particular time, Lord, sat on Garuna and he left. And then Shukdev Goswami says that whoever just hears this pastime, becomes qualified to take birth on the celestial planets, the heavenly planets. So you automatically, you heard this, so, you become qualified. So first you have to be qualified to be able to have entry to some place. So now you have a ticket. Congratulations. Yet at the same time, devotees, we are not interested in that sthana where it's more materialistic, right? It doesn't matter whether you are in a jail that has an AC or that doesn't have an AC. It's still a jail. Maybe the facilities are better. And it's so interesting that it could actually be reversed for some people, because all the demigods, they pray that they want to take birth in Bharatvash to perform devotional service. They are praying to the Lordship that, oh Lord, we are fed up with this constant, incessant enjoyment that we are involved in. See, demigods' life, it's filled with enjoyment, with constant pleasure. They get 1,000 times more pleasure because they have 1,000 times better facilities, lifetimes and so forth. They said, no, we want to perform devotional service like, human beings on Bharatvarsha. And what is Bharatvarsha? Planet Earth, right? Even during Parikshit Maharaj, he was the emperor of the world. And the world was known as Bharatvarsha. So very nice. So we are so lucky that we are at a place where demigods want to perform devotional service. And we are so lucky that we are able to perform devotional service. Take to the ashraya of the Lord, right? Take to the, process. And that's the right uttaya, that's the right engagement of our activities. Not the fruitive activities, but to the devotional activities, devotional service. And how do you start devotional service? Simply by raising your hand and chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this is how, and it's so interesting that Chakravarti Pad, he reveals that even the residents of Vaikuntha, they are praying that, oh Lord, it would be so nice if you could appear in Bharatvarsha and perform devotional service. Congratulations. This is like spiritual world, the residents of spiritual world who are praying to the Lordship. So what place is better than to perform devotional service in Bharatvarsha? We are so lucky. And of all those places, DC is the best place. You know why? Sometimes people say, okay, Bharatvarsha, so it must be that I must be in miserable situation and then I should perform. Well, that's Artho, one who is distressed. Yet at the same time, why DC is the best place? I'll tell you a story, then you will be able to relate to it. A rich man, he pointed to a beggar and he asked his daughter, what's the difference between that beggar and me? The daughter, she gave some references like, you're rich, that person's not rich. No. She's like giving, and then finally she says, I don't know. He says, because that beggar thinks that he can be happy once he becomes rich. Right? We have all the facilities in DC. Washington DC, capital of the world, sometimes refers to as, right? We have great facilities around us. We have great, temple available. We can easily come here. We have cars and so many other facilities that we can use to travel, come whenever we want, at any time. We are not really in the situation like, traffic jams are going on and so forth, and there are so many accidents. So accidents still happen because it's a material world. Dukkhalayam shashvatam. place of misery and temporary in nature. Yet at the same time, we know that even the riches do not give you happiness. And it's the best place to come and seek the proper shelter, just like Gajendra did. He sought shelter in the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. So similarly, we can come, perform our devotional service, take shelter of the Lordship. So in this particular chapter, it's so nicely described that we are having all the facilities, and in this material world, which is Sarga Visarga. If you pay attention, all the essential topics are discussed in this pastime. In a Sarga, which is the primary creation, from where the 5 elements, the gross elements, the 3 subtle elements, the senses, the sense objects, all that stuff are being nicely described. So when the pastime starts, it actually engages the mind even of a karmi. One who is engaged in fruitive activities, they would be engaged. And then as they continue to progress further, how beautifully this Trikuta mountain ranges that's established, and how Ritumata is established. Their mind is actually going to Visarga, the secondary creation which is done by Lord Brahma. Primary creation is created by Lord Mahavishnu. Then the secondary creation. And then Uttaya is the living entities, they engage in different materialistic activities, fruitive activities, and so forth. That's the third topic, where how Gajendra was involved in so many activities with his associates, family, wives and children, and how he's loitering and enjoying his life. And then comes the point of sthana. So no matter where they are, we have an opportunity to associate with the devotees. So it just so happened that he was established in the right state, sthiti, that he realized that this material world is a place of misery, and I have to go out of here. So then, with the proper sthana, poshanam happened. Poshanam is protection. So coming to that proper sthana, he surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lordship, and he recited those prayers of surrender. So with the poshanam, when is this happening? During tamasa Manu's reign, right? Manvantara avatar of Lord Hari. Lord Hari himself, he comes to save Gajendra after listening to his prayers. And that's the Ishanu Katha in this particular chapter. And Lord, as he is doing his pastime, now Shukdev Goswami, after giving his blessing, he recites the blessing that Lordship gives. That whoever thinks of this place, right? Sarga Visarga, all those aspects are coming. Uttaya, how the Gajendra was enjoying his life and so forth. And then the prayers recited by you, I give them permanent residence in Vaikuntha. And at the end of every night, which is the morning, whoever recites these prayers, they get the residence in Vaikuntha in the spiritual abode. So that is guaranteed. Can you imagine? All you have to do is remember the Lord, his form, Gajendra's form, Trikuta mountains, all the demigods, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the residence of Lord Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, the various incarnations of the Lord, the various devotees like Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, their pastimes, and how Gajendra was reciting all these prayers, and how he was delivered. And it is said that whoever does this, recite the prayers itself, will attain a residence in Vaikuntha, in the spiritual world. And so he goes back to the Vaikuntha planet along with Gajendra, who is in the 4-arm form, and makes him an associate. And Srila Prabhupada identifies that, in Brahman, they go to, Brahman, they merge into Brahman, where even the enemies of the Lordship can go. And the ones who are yogis, they can go to different planets, but they are confined within the material universe itself. They cannot go out unless there is special mercy of the Lord. So that's what is the gist of this particular chapter that we covered today. And it is so wonderful that all the essential subject matters are covered. Even the dissolution aspect is covered, that, Gajendra realizes, what's the sense of having a material body? Why should I just not take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lordship? Because there is no loss, and there is only gain. So in this particular chapter, we should all seek, to the shelter of the Lordship, to surrender to his Lordship, take his ashraya, to, take his shelter, to take to his full protection, and establish ourselves in the proper sthiti, situation, where we can perform devotional service. Just by praying, raising our hand and praying, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Go Premanande. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.